Human awareness has always had a particular place for the unknown, a place of respect, anxiety, and intrigue. Looking up at the night sky, our forebears were surrounded in a mysterious tapestry. Beyond the glittering stars was what? Our connection with the unknown is essentially driven by our natural curiosity mixed with an underlying fear. This chapter explores the basic features of this connection and shows how the mystery of the unknown molds our mentality. Humanity has met the unknown with both wonder and fear from the first days. Confronted with natural events they could not explain, ancient civilizations developed mythologies and gods to make sense of their environment. These tales gave some control over the inexplicable and acted as a link between the known and the unknown. Still, the uncertainty caused great worry even with these tales. Deeply ingrained in our evolutionary past is this dread. One's surroundings determined whether one survived in the wild. The unknown stood for possible dangers, a lurking predator, an invisible opponent, or an incomprehensible natural calamity. Our brains developed to be afraid of uncertainty as individuals who were cautious about the future were more likely to survive and progress. This evolutionary feature has persisted into the present and shown itself as our demand for consistency and our anxiety about strange events. Philosophically, the unknown challenges our sense of control and organization. According to Friedrich Nietzsche's will to power theory, people want to force their will on the planet, therefore transforming and comprehending it. The unknown resists our efforts to classify and manage, therefore impeding this will. It is the disorderly component that challenges our ordered view of reality and causes existential anxiety and powerlessness. Existentialists such as Jean-Paul Sartre and Soren Kierkegaard looked at the uneasiness resulting from confronting the future. Kierkegaard first proposed the concept of angst, a deep-seated anxiety not of any one thing, but of the pure boundlessness of possibilities the unknown offers. A basic feature of the human experience. This anguish reminds us of our little knowledge and power over our life. Sartre underlined even more how the human experience inevitably forces us to face our freedom and the accompanying responsibility by confronting the unknown. Psychologically, our brain processing of information helps to explain our anxiety of the unknown. Constantly seeking to forecast future occurrences based on previous experiences, the human brain is a prediction machine. Uncertainty causes the brain to struggle to create correct predictions, which increases attention and anxiety. Designed to guard us from possible hazards, this state known as the fight or flight response is an evolutionary mechanism, but in the present day, this reaction might be brought on by abstract worries about the unknown, which causes persistent worry and anxiety. Our anxiety of the unknown is much shaped by cultural elements as well. Affected by historical, theological, and social settings, many civilizations handle uncertainty in different ways. For instance, certain societies might welcome the unknown as a means of adventure and discovery, while others would see it with mistrust and terror. The way people within such civilizations see and handle uncertainty may be much influenced by these cultural views. All told, our uncertainty about the future is a complicated interaction of evolutionary, philosophical, psychological, and cultural elements. Part of the human condition. It shapes our society, ideas, and actions. We have to face the anxieties it raises while we keep exploring the unknown, trying to comprehend and maybe even welcome the secrets beyond our reach. This trip into the unknown is a deep inquiry of what it is to be human as much as a search for information. One of the most strong and basic emotions, fear permeates the human mind somewhat extensively. It is a very important survival tool as it alerts us to possible threats and motivates us to respond defensively. But what happens when the hazy idea of the unknown, rather than a physical danger, is the cause of anxiety? Examining how uncertainty disturbs our cognitive processes and emotional equilibrium. This chapter explores the psychological processes behind our dread of the unknown. Our psychological reaction to the unknown is fundamentally motivated by our brain's relentless need for clarity. constant attempt to make sense of the environment by seeing regularities and building expectations. The human brain lives on patterns and predictability. The brain's prediction model is disturbed by ambiguity, which causes cognitive dissonance, as the brain tries to balance the lack of information with its need for clarity. This dissonance causes discomfort and anxiety. The reward system of the brain is intimately related with this need for certainty. Positive emotions and well-being are related with predictability and control over one's surroundings. The brain's stress reaction is triggered when the unknown threatens them, therefore stimulating the amygdala, the area in charge of processing danger and anxiety. Stress hormones like cortisol, which equip the body for a fight or flight reaction, are produced when this activation occurs. But in the absence of a clear danger, this heightened level of awareness may become maladaptive and cause stress and persistent worry. Cognitive theories of anxiety, including the intolerance of uncertainty model, help to explain why the unknown is so upsetting. This model suggests that those who have a strong sensitivity for ambiguity find it more challenging to manage conflicting circumstances. Their tendency to overestimate the possibility of unpleasant events and undervalue their capacity to manage them results in too much worry and anxiety. Many anxiety disorders, like generalized anxiety disorder, where people feel widespread and uncontrolled concern about a broad variety of possible hazards, show this intolerance for ambiguity. Developmental psychology also offers understanding of our uncertainty regarding the future. Children demonstrate a natural interest about their surroundings from a young age, tempered with a wariness of strange circumstances. Children's cautious curiosity is an adaptive behavior that helps them to learn about their environment while still under protection from any hazards. Our experiences and cultural influences help to develop our views of the unknown as we age. While some people find this results in a good mix of curiosity and caution, others may experience increased anxiety and avoidance of uncertainty. Our dread of the unknown also stems much from the idea of cognitive biases. Cognitive biases are methodical mistakes in our thought that influence our choices and assessments. One such bias is the ambiguity effect, in which people, despite objectively greater known hazards, prefer known dangers over unknown ones. This prejudice shows our discomfort with ambiguity and our inclination to choose the familiar, even if it is not the best one. The negativity bias, in which bad events and knowledge influence our ideas and feelings more than good ones, is another pertinent inclination. Because we are more prone to concentrate on possible hazards and worst-case situations, this bias might magnify our uncertainty about the future. This inclination to catastrophize might cause more anxiety and avoidance behaviors, thus restricting our capacity to interact with novel and maybe profitable events. All our fear of the unknown has complex psychological roots, including cognitive, affective, and developmental elements. Our reaction to the unknown is shaped by our brain's need for certainty, cognitive distortions, and personal tolerance to ambiguity. Understanding these processes helps us to control our anxiety and create better strategies of coping with uncertainty. The path towards accepting the unknown is one of psychological flexibility and resilience as much as information acquisition. Not only is the fear of the unknown a psychological phenomenon, it also has strong roots in our evolutionary past. Examining how our predecessors' survival methods have impacted our present reactions to the unknown. This chapter investigates the evolutionary view on fear and uncertainty. Knowing these evolutionary origins helps us to better understand why humans are driven to dread uncertainty, and how this fear has shaped human activity and growth. Early human history was a hostile and erratic environment in which existence relied on the capacity to foresee and react to possible hazards. The unknown provided a great difficulty as it included a broad spectrum of erratic hazards, from rivals human groups to predators and natural calamities. More likely to live and pass on their genes were those who were more wary and aware of possible hazards. This evolutionary pressure produced a great dislike of the unknown and increased sensitivity to ambiguity. The fight or flight response, a physiological reaction to perceived dangers, is fundamental in this evolutionary adaptation. The amygdala in the brain releases stress chemicals like adrenaline and cortisol in response to an uncertain or unknown scenario, thereby arming the body to either face or run from the danger. Early humans needed this reaction to respond fast to hazards in their surroundings. But in the present day, this identical reaction might be set off by abstract worries, which causes ongoing worry and stress. Our social actions also show our evolutionary origins of our uncertainty about the future. Early human communities survived by means of social cohesiveness and collaboration. Within the group, trust and consistency were absolutely vital, as they let people cooperate well and prevent disputes. Whether in the shape of unknown people or random occurrences, the unknown challenged this social stability. This reinforced our dislike of the unknown, as it resulted in an evolutionary inclination for familiarity and predictability. Moreover, the evolution of human intellect and cognitive capacity brought even another level of anxiety about the future. Our predecessors become increasingly conscious of the enormity of their ignorance, as their brains developed to handle complicated knowledge and predict future occurrences. Increased existential distress resulted from this knowledge of the uncertainty and from the capacity to picture worst-case situations. The more we know about the world, our awareness of our ignorance increases, and this may be both alarming and humble. Evolutionary psychology also contends that our demand for control and mastery over our surroundings shapes our anxiety about the future. The unknown reminds us of our fragility and limits and marks a lack of control. Given that it questions our feeling of agency and ability, this loss of control may be very upsetting. Evolutionarily speaking, individuals who could control their surroundings and lower uncertainty were more likely to flourish. This need for control keeps influencing our actions and views about the future. Cultural change accentuates our anxiety about the future. Human civilizations evolved with cultural norms and practices arising to control uncertainty and advance stability. Examples of cultural adaptations that provide answers for the unknown and a feeling of control over erratic occurrences include religious beliefs, rituals, and superstitions. These cultural ideas support social cohesiveness and assist to reduce existential anxiety. However, by presenting the dread of the unknown as something to be handled and controlled, they also support it. Finally, the evolutionary viewpoint on uncertainty and dread shows that our inclination against the unknown is profoundly rooted in our biology and social actions. Our survival and growth have been much aided by this dread, which also shapes our emotional and cognitive reactions to uncertainty. Understanding the evolutionary causes of our anxiety helps us to value the chances and difficulties that accompany facing the future. Accepting uncertainty calls not just intellectual curiosity, but also awareness of our natural inclinations and a readiness to go beyond them. Our impressions of the unfamiliar are much shaped by cultural narratives. To help and control the uncertainty of life, many civilizations have evolved tales, myths, and legends across history. These stories not only capture our shared aspirations and worries, but also shape our attitude to the future. This chapter investigates the cultural aspects of our uncertainty about the future by looking at how other civilizations have framed and handled the riddles of life. From mythologies from antiquity to contemporary science fiction, cultural stories provide a structure for grasping the unknown. Many ancient civilizations used stories and tales to both provide moral direction and help to explain events, often showing the unknown as a land of peril and anarchy ruled by gods, monsters, and spirits. These stories help civilizations give their surroundings feeling of control and establish order on the uncharted. In Greek mythology, for instance, the idea of chaos stood in for the primordial emptiness from which the universe sprang. Goddesses like Chaos and Nyx embodied this turbulent uncertainty, capturing the anxiety and wonder connected with the secrets of the world. In many traditional societies, too, the unknown was connected to the spirit world, with shamans and religious leaders serving as middlemen able to negotiate and affect these invisible domains. These stories made the unknown more understandable and less frightening by helping it to be included into the fabric of culture. The unknown has remained a major motif in literature, art, and popular culture even more recently. Particularly science fiction has investigated the opportunities and dangers of the future, from extraterrestrial encounters to dystopian societies. These tales mirror modern worries about technology, the future, and the boundaries of human understanding. Through interacting with these stories, viewers may vicariously feel the anxiety and curiosity of the unknown, therefore learning about their own attitudes and views. Furthermore, evident in cultural variations and attitudes toward the unknown are the handling of uncertainty and ambiguity by cultures. According to Geert Hofstede's cultural aspects theory, one important cultural difference among nations is uncertainty avoidance. High uncertainty avoidance societies, especially those in Southern Europe and Latin America, often have a reduced tolerance for ambiguity and favor ordered, rule-based living. Low uncertainty avoidance societies, including those seen in East Asia and Scandinavia, on the other hand, are more at ease with uncertainty and receptive to novel experiences. Many facets of social life mirror these cultural views, including innovation, government, and education. While persons with low uncertainty avoidance may be more flexible, innovative, and open to change, societies with great uncertainty avoidance may give stability, tradition, and risk aversion top priority. Knowing these cultural variations may help one to get important understanding of how other communities handle uncertainty and the unknown. Furthermore, very important in determining cultural views about the future are religious ideas and practices. Many times giving answers for the riddles of life and death, religions provide a sense of meaning and direction in the face of ambiguity. Ideas like fate, destiny, and the hereafter help to solve basic concerns about the future and provide comfort during trying circumstances. Religions enable people and societies to negotiate the uncertainty of life by orienting the unknown into a greater spiritual setting. Apart from conventional religious tales, contemporary secular ideas and philosophies also solve the unknown in other ways, emphasizing the individual's obligation to create meaning in a world without intrinsic purpose. Existentialists who challenge the inherent unpredictability of human life also stress this philosophical point of view welcomes a brave interaction with the unknown as a necessary feature of the human existence. All things considered, our impressions of the unfamiliar are much shaped by cultural stories and customs. From old tales to contemporary ideas, these stories show our shared efforts to interpret the secrets of life. Examining these cultural aspects helps us to better grasp how other civilizations handle uncertainty and how these stories shape our reactions to the future both personally and socially. Especially in connection to the unknown, the human experience of dread is profoundly ingrained in our psychological composition. This chapter explores the psychological aspects of our fear of the unknown, including how our brains handle uncertainty and the reasons this usually results in anxiety and dread. Understanding the psychological processes involved helps us to better appreciate why the unknown has so great influence on us and how we could learn to manage it. Our psychological reaction to the unknown is fundamentally based on uncertainty. Uncertainty disturbs our capacity for prediction and control of our surroundings. Hence, it is naturally unpleasant. From slight pain to severe worry, this discomfort may set off a spectrum of psychological responses. Our brains are built to search for patterns and create predictions. Hence, this is one of the main causes. When we come across something unfamiliar, it tests our cognitive functions and causes confusion and anxiety. Our anxiety of the unknown is strongly influenced by the psychological phenomena often referred to as intolerance of uncertainty. High EQ people find it more challenging to handle conflicting circumstances. They often overstate the likelihood of unfavorable events and hence suffer more worry. This intolerance could show itself as too much stress, avoidance, or trouble making choices. Knowing EQ clarifies possible coping mechanisms and enables one to understand why certain individuals experience greater influence from uncertainty than others. The ambiguity effect is another important psychological theory explaining our dread of the unknown. This cognitive bias causes people to choose known hazards over unknown ones, even if the known risks are actually larger. This inclination for the known comes from our need for control and consistency. When we are unsure, our brains often concentrate on possible hazards and negative consequences, therefore enhancing our fear and avoidance responses. The ambiguity effect emphasizes the requirement of cognitive prejudices, informing our reactions to the unknown, and stresses the need of techniques to control these prejudices. The idea of existential anxiety, that kind of worry resulting from our consciousness of our death and the uncertainty of our existence, is likewise intimately related to the dread of the unknown. Emphasizing the great influence this existential component of dread has on human life, philosophers as Soren Kierkegaard and Martin Heidegger have investigated it. A reminder of the boundaries of our knowledge and the certainty of death, existential anxiety challenges us to find meaning and purpose in an uncertain world. For the management of the uncertainty of the future, cognitive behavioral therapy (CBT) provides insightful instruments. By use of cognitive restructuring and exposure therapy, among other CBT approaches, CBT helps people to question their negative ideas and progressively face their concerns. We may lower our fear of the future by redefining uncertainty and learning to accept ambiguity, and by means of tolerance of ambiguity. These therapy strategies stress the need of cognitive flexibility and resilience for managing unpredictability. Furthermore, providing useful techniques for overcoming uncertainty is mindfulness and acceptance-based therapy. These techniques inspire people to pay attention to the here and now and to embrace uncertainty as an inevitable aspect of existence. Reducing the effect of anxiety and dread requires a non-judging awareness of our ideas and emotions. Deep breathing and meditation, among other mindfulness techniques, serve to quiet the mind and foster inner peace, therefore facilitating the equanimity in facing the future. Apart from therapeutic methods, there are useful techniques that provide people control over their uncertainty about the future. Effective strategies for handling uncertainty include building a solid support system, consistent physical exercise, and honing problem-solving skills. Focusing on our controllable factors and acting early to limit stress will help us to develop resilience and lessen the influence of anxiety on our life. Ultimately, the psychology of dread and the unknown involves a complicated interaction of existential, emotional, and cognitive elements. Our reaction to the unknown is shaped by our brain's demand for predictability and control, cognitive biases, and individual variations in tolerance for uncertainty. Understanding these psychological processes and using sensible coping techniques can help us to negotiate life's uncertainty with more resilience and confidence. The road towards accepting the unknown is about uncovering fresh opportunities and finding purpose in the middle of uncertainty as much as about conquering anxiety. Though the future might cause worry and dread, it also presents chances for development and learning. This last chapter looks at ways we could welcome the unknown and turn our anxiety into a driver of both group and personal growth. Changing our attitude and acquiring useful abilities can help us to negotiate uncertainty with resilience and inventiveness. Developing a development mentality is among the best ways to welcome the future. Developed by psychologist Carol Dweck, a growth mindset holds that work and education may help one acquire talents and intellect. This kind of thinking helps people to see obstacles and uncertainty as chances for development rather than dangers. Changing our perspective to one of growth will help us to see our anxiety about the future as an opportunity for learning, adaptation, and development. Building resilience, that is, the ability to bounce back from challenges, is also very important. Resilience is acquiring a set of abilities and attitudes that help us to manage pressure and difficulty. These include social support, skillful problem solving, and emotional control. Increasing our resilience will help us to manage life's uncertainty and recover from obstacles. Greater resilience may result from mindfulness, self-compassion, and positive self-talk, among other behaviors. Embracing the unfamiliar also depends on a developing curiosity. we investigate, probe, and search for fresh experiences out of curiosity. It turns uncertainty, a cause of anxiety, into a source of curiosity. Curiosity helps us to approach the future open and inquisitively, prepared to find fresh ideas and opportunities. This change of viewpoint could help us to lower tension and boost our feeling of adventure and thrill. Navigating the unknown successfully calls for practical skills. These include critical thinking, flexibility, and good communication. Critical thinking helps us to make wise judgments, examine and assess material, and creatively address challenges. Adaptability helps us to welcome fresh chances and fit to changing conditions. Good communication facilitates our expression of ideas and emotions, support seeking, and group projects. Developing these abilities will help us to better manage uncertainty and flourish in many contexts. Apart from personal plans, group techniques to face the uncertainty are equally crucial. Creating cooperative societies and encouraging surroundings would enable people to feel more confident and empowered against uncertainty. Social support systems help to build resilience by offering both emotional and pragmatic help, therefore lowering emotions of isolation. Cooperative settings support knowledge and resource sharing, therefore fostering creativity and problem solving. To embrace the unknown also include education and lifelong learning. Constant improvement of our knowledge and abilities will help us to remain flexible and ready for fresh difficulties. Formal education is simply one aspect of lifelong learning. Also included are self-directed learning, experience learning, and continuous personal growth, emphasizing the value of inquiry and ongoing development. Lifelong learning enables us to be flexible and open-minded in the face of uncertainty. Accepting the unknown ultimately calls for a readiness to go beyond our comfort zones and take chances. This means confronting our preconceptions, addressing our anxieties, and allowing failure. Accepting measured risks lets us challenge ourselves, find fresh opportunities, and reach our objectives. Accepting failure as a useful teaching tool can help us to become resilient and tenacious. This brave attitude to the future could result in major development both personally and professionally. Accepting the unknown is, all things considered, a complex process requiring a development of a growth attitude, resilience, curiosity, useful talents, and group support seeking. These techniques will help us to turn our uncertainty-related anxiety into a source of inspiration and power. Though intrinsically difficult, the unknown also offers great possibility for discovery and growth. Learning to negotiate and welcome uncertainty will help us to open fresh opportunities and build a more flexible and strong future. The path toward accepting the unknown is about embracing the richness of life and the many chances for development and metamorphosis that accompany it, not just about conquering anxiety.